You don't want to miss today's episode where I'm going to discuss Lori Vallow's latest motion. Yes, it's a goodie. Hi, good morning, everybody. Crafting Journey here. That Journey Chick over on Instagram and on my new channel down in the description. Check that out, The Leftovers. Welcome to another edition of Crafting and Crime Daily, the show where I bring you recaps of live trials and describe to you all the motion hearings and different things that leading up to that actual trial occurring. So you don't want to miss today's episode where I'm going to discuss Lori Vallow's latest motion. Yes, it's a goodie. If you don't want to sit through the vlog, there is chapters now down in the description where you can just click right to the portion of the show that you want to see. And yeah, I guarantee you don't want to miss the Lori Vallow update. So thanks for tuning in. Here's the animals. Yeah, you thought you missed them. No, you didn't miss the animals. So, welcome. I am Rebecca. I am a retired nurse and attorney, and I do recap live trials every day. Right now, we are doing the Lori Vallow case. Because they did have a hearing yesterday that was closed to the public, and there is a motion pending, and you're going to want to hear all about that. So stay tuned towards the end for that. And also, I do what national day it is, and at the very end, this day in history, it's all chaptered. You know, you can just click to your favorite part now. You don't have to sit through the whole thing. Yay. So what I do is I craft while I tell you about these things. And this show is designed so that you can do some crafting as well while you listen. Sometimes I put some pictures in, so you don't want to miss the pictures. And I have animals. Hi, Tootsie. Hi, baby. So today is a really interesting national day. It is National No Rhyme or Reason Day. This is the day to celebrate words that have absolutely no rhyme to them. And I challenge you if you can make a rhyme to these words. Orange, purple. Let's see what you can do with those two words. Let me know down in the comments. Nothing's coming to my mind. Okay, what am I working on? I am diamond painting. Yesterday I was crocheting. Last night on Craft With Me Wednesday, I was doing some watercolor painting and experimenting with India inks, if you want to check that out as well. Here is my painting so far. This is called Wool Gathering. It reminds me of Anne of Green Gables. And what this is I'm just putting thousands of little diamonds wherever it tells me to on the page. Yeah. And I get a little creative by replacing some of the diamonds with blingier diamonds. Now, right here, I'm up in this tree, so lots of confetti. And what that is a small area that has lots of different colors in it. Yeah. Okay. Yesterday was my first day of fun employment, and I had a very, very good day. I got the spreadsheet set up for the new business. I thought I was going to have an internet problem. Turns out what the problem was is I had not turned that computer on in a few months. So, of course, it needed to update, which is why I was getting such a slow response from the internet. So once I just left it alone, let it do its thing, do all of its updates. Last night after dinner, I sat down in there in my third bedroom, one office, and I was able to sit through the tutorial. It's incredibly easy. It's a Google Sheet. If you're familiar with Google Sheets, you really don't need too much of a tutorial. The person that set up the spreadsheet is, I have to thank him, Ginger Marvin. Thank you so much. It's going to be a huge help to the business, and so that's it's set up because he set it up. Now I just have to input my inventory, which I will start doing today. We seem to have a cat hair issue on the painting today. I know Stitch was up here yesterday. This little guy. What else did I do on my first day of unemployment? I took a nap. Yes, I took a nap. It felt incredible. The whole day was, even today, like when I woke up, I didn't have to get up at a particular time. I didn't have to race around, I bought some hair dye yesterday. I got to get rid of these grays. I'm going to go a little bit tint of red for the winter. We'll see how that works out. I crocheted last night. I stayed up as late as I wanted to. I crocheted. I came in here at 2 o'clock in the morning, diamond painted, while I was listening to some YouTube tutorials on how to grow your channel. So I am trying new things, so bear with me, guys. I love you all. I'm trying. So let's talk about corrupting and crime. Not a lot going on in the Nicolas Cruz case. Still putting on witnesses, the defense. Yes. Yesterday they put on a neighbor. And one of the reasons this is taking so long is that, usually they start late, they have 2-hour lunches, they end early. I mean, it's just, if I was the jurors in this case, I would have, first of all, I'll never be a juror again. I will just say, hey, I was on the Nicolas Cruz case. Please excuse me from any and all future jury duty, because that should make up for a lifetime of jury duty. These jurors, I mean, she did give them a few weeks off. I mean, thank God for that, the judge. But they are sitting there during some incredibly boring testimony. Yesterday was a neighbor of Nicolas when he was in middle schoolish age, but they still keep in touch. And there's a jailhouse phone call that goes along with this testimony. This neighbor described that Nicolas could be very violent. He would throw things, and he was clearly very troubled child, and way too much for mom to handle. These two boys was way too much for this mother to handle, and she resorted to drinking. This is, according to him. So this neighbor also testified that Nicolas Cruz's mother never had any food in the refrigerator. He would sometimes even go over and offer them food and offer to put groceries into the refrigerator, and then their mother started locking the refrigerator, so he would just offer to feed them. He said Nicolas was obsessed with guns, gun violence. He would always ask these really weird questions like, what do you think it was like when JFK got shot? Do you think what do you think what do you think it sounded like? Do you think it was a loud pop, or was it, what do you think? That's just weird thinking. And when Linda died, Nicolas and Zachary's mother, this guy said, I drove them to the funeral, and I felt really bad because nobody showed up for the funeral except for the three of us. So he said, I told them, I think I accidentally put it in the news for the wrong day, and I apologize, because he felt so bad. He wanted them to think that, maybe people were expecting this to be on a different day, and that's why they didn't show up. And so he knew Nicolas would be devastated if he thought that really nobody showed up for his mother's funeral. He's very close to his mother. That's very sad. Now the plaintiff or the prosecution, when they get up, they point out that, didn't you have a jail phone call with Nicolas Cruz where you were trying to get him to make a movie out of his story? And you hear this phone call, and this neighbor is telling him, hey, I've got connections with this movie producer, and he mentioned that he might like to, do a story about your life and the events surrounding this trial, and Nicolas like, hey, that's really cool, but I don't think so. It turns out that's against his plea agreement. He's not allowed to do that. But the point of this phone call was to point out that this neighbor has an interest in testifying against, or on behalf of Nicolas Cruz, and how troubled he was as a youth, and because he wants to do a movie about his life. It would have to be like the unauthorized version, because it didn't sound like Nicolas was too into the whole idea anyway. That was the case yesterday. Yeah, so now let's move on to the Chad and Lori Daybell case, which is expected to go to trial early next year. So, there was a hearing yesterday, but no one knows what it was about, because the judge cleared the courtroom, including the victim's family. The victims are Tylee and her brother, the children of Lori Daybell, who were killed, murdered, and found in Chad Daybell's backyard, buried in his backyard. The grandparents, Woodcocks, they were asked to leave the courtroom. The courtroom was cleared for whatever this motion was. And we do know that there was a motion filed within the last day or so. I doubt that that's what this hearing was about, but there was also a motion filed to close the courtroom to the media for the trial, that to not allow any cameras in the courtroom for this trial. Now, that's what they do in federal court. They don't allow cameras. You just have that sketch artist that does those weird little sketches of people that just don't really look like the people. But I might point out that the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution says criminals have the right to a speedy and public trial. So there's a huge argument to be made that this should be open to the public. It's the state against Chad and Lori Daybell. In this case, they're in Idaho. I don't know that we've ever been to Idaho for any cases. This will be interesting. And as a representative of the state, the prosecution is representing everybody in the state of Ohio. They should be allowed to watch this trial. Yes, they are parties to this trial. So, I don't know how the judge is going to rule, but they were very offended during the last hearing because Court TV had the feed on the last hearing. Now, what that means is when they have the feed, everyone can plug into their feed and will have access to it. But they can only have like one camera. So Court TV had the camera at the last hearing, and they had one camera set up in one location and then another camera set up in front of the defendant, and they kept getting close-ups of her. And I don't know if you recall this hearing. I didn't talk about it too much, but she was all smiles and giggles and just very inappropriate kind of behavior. But the defense is making the argument that they could possibly have overheard conversations between their clients and the defense attorneys, that anything she may have written on any pieces of paper could have been read through that close-up camera, and they're afraid that this is might be what in the trial. Now, so I'd be really interested to hear how this is going to turn out. So what will happen is that the media, Court TV, Law and Crime, the local media stations, they will hire a lawyer to represent the media who will be a party to this motion. And that lawyer will get to come in and argue in favor of the Sixth Amendment, speedy and public trial, and that this should be open to the public. So this motion was already filed in this case and heard before another judge who declined or denied the motion. So now we have a different judge, so they're trying it again. So I will keep you updated on how that motion turns out. I believe the Nicolas Cruz case is only going to be in session in the afternoon today, and maybe not at all tomorrow. She's been giving them Fridays off. We'll see. But we have a new trial starting next week. If you want to hear the preview for that, there's a video here you can watch that tells you all about these two families, the Wagners and the Rodins. Interesting case, lots and lots of players. You're going to want to hear the preview before it starts on Monday. So, in 1985, on this day in history, the Titanic was found by these oceanographer explorers. The sunken liner was found about 400 miles east of Newfoundland, about 14,000 feet in depth in the water. It could not be found up until this time because no one had the technology that, right after this thing sunk, they went out and they tried, but they didn't have the technology to go and retrieve the artifacts off of that ship. Navy officer Robert D. Ballard and French oceanographer Jean-Louis Michel Ballard decided that they were going to go out with this piece of Navy equipment called the Argo. Now, the Argo was designed to go all the way down to the floor of the ocean and scan the floor of the ocean, sending pictures up to where they were. And they were doing this one day, September 1st. They come across one of the boilers from the Titanic. So, wow, they're all excited. So, within a short time, they find the Titanic. It is cracked entirely in half. It's in two pieces. And over the next many or so years, there were a lot more expeditions and a lot of artifacts recovered. This thing was incredibly preserved, and they did recover a lot of stuff off of this ship. And it did allow them to investigate the cause of the Titanic sinking as well. The debris from the ship was scattered over a 2-mile area. This was a 46,000-ton ship. Unfortunately, there is some bacteria that is on the floor of this ocean that are eating away at the artifacts that have not yet been discovered or perished before discovery. It just lost to the ocean before they even found the Titanic. That's it for the show today. I will see you tomorrow in Crafting and Crime Daily. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.